Welcome back. Storyboard 18's Power of Purpose Sustainability Edition, which was held in New Delhi recently, was graced by prominent industry leaders, from policymakers and business leaders to individuals leading from the front lines. They all came together to share impactful stories and pivotal conversations to set the agenda for a sustainable future. Up next, we have two interesting conversations lined up. Ruchira Jaitley, CMO of Diageo India, who spoke on integrating purpose into core brand ethos and strategy, along with Alok Lal, COO Microsoft India and South Asia, who's speaking about the role of tech in journey towards sustainability. We also caught up with Mohit Joshi, CEO Havas Media Network India, who was one of the key attendees, and he spoke on the true power of purpose. Premiumization is a big trend across FMCG over the past year and a half, maybe. So how has purpose, driven the consumer preference when it comes to selection of some of your alcohol beverages?
Yeah, so there is very, very strong evidence that tells us that purposeful brands drive far greater engagement, even in a category like ours. And I'm sure that's true, by the way, of many, many categories. Many examples tell us about that. Johnny Walker, right? And Walkers & Co. Walkers & Co. actually celebrates individuals who are bold boundary pushers, who are pushing for social impact while asserting their identity. But they also look at it as collective progress. How do you take more people along, and how do you make more people walk further, rather than just about me and my identity and me being the achiever? This is a luxury or a premium brand which is talking about people we typically see on the street via an art project that reclaims social spaces, big spaces. And they were just recently at the Venice Biennale, where the whole world went crazy about the art they were putting up. And I like to think that we enabled them to go out and capture spaces like the Venice Biennale, and not just about, India and the roads. So that's one example. Another example is Black and White. Black and White is a global brand. We have launched extensions on the trademark. But Black and White has always stood for sharing your most authentic self, bringing different diverse views to the table. And that's an interesting kind of a metaphor, because the table is also where you have food. So we've done programs like Table for Everyone, where you get food and influences from across the country. You sit with people you don't know. You share experiences, your thoughts, your opinion, and your attitudes. I think in a world like ours, we want to see more of this vision. Hisham spoke about it, right? Yeah. You want to see those little, how do you say it? Those points of light, right? So this is a point of light about saying, how do we become a more inclusive and a progressive society? We don't have to close doors against the way people think. Now, the interesting one is, at a time when in the US, people are talking about the fact that who has control about the way a woman thinks or wants to do things. This is a creative that we put out in India, which was actually one of the reasons why this brand and the trademark scorched growth. These are creatives we've made in India, Shibani, on some of global brands. And we're talking about things that are actually changing the face we look at society. The last piece that I'm going to talk about while we talk about purpose and brands made purposeful by design, that's a brand called Godawan. And for all of you here, if you want to step out and try that drink, it's one of an award-winning drinks across the world. Like you, maybe, I certainly did not know what Godawan stood for till this whiskey was launched. It is actually the name of the great Indian bustard, the Indian name for the great Indian bustard, which is an endangered species. It is more endangered today than the tiger, which is a fact that I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about, right? Now, we've worked in a water-scarce region like Rajasthan at a distillery in Alwar to create this craft single malt whiskey. But we've done it in a way that's conserved water, and we've won the only award in Asia for a distillery, which is the Alliance for Water Stewardship, right? At this distillery in Rajasthan. 98% of the energy at this distillery will be renewable, right? We work with communities there where more than 50% of what we put out is CSR, which is the money that we get from when you buy this liquid, goes back into the conservation of the bird and into empowering women in local communities, right? So this is not something that we do, like I said, we do it by design. We don't do it because it's a nice thing to do or whatever. So the
Not like merely a lip service, but you actually
no,
do it by
so
design.
this brand is now has won many, many awards across the globe. It is being it is being sold currently as we speak in New York, Dubai, London, Singapore, etc., etc. France at Cannes, we were part of the India Pavilion because we believe that as India we can come back with equally good solutions on how business can build back for local communities and otherwise.